Okay, tell me if this sounds relatable to you. A brand new synth gets announced. The features are insane. It's from a manufacturer you absolutely know and love, and it just seems like it might be the endgame hardware synthesizer that your setup has been looking for years. You were so excited to check it out, you go to YouTube, you search up the day one demos, and then you hear them. In this video, I'm going to talk about why I think so many synth demos and therefore synth jams on the internet sound the same, and 3 ideas for how you can improve your synth jams and synth demos. Before you think that I'm exempting myself from this, I am absolutely guilty of boring synth jam-itis myself, and that's actually how I learned these 3 techniques that I'm going to share with you today. I'm going to start with a story. Back in 2019, I was producing so much music, but the problem, all of it sounded like this. Now, depending on your opinion of EDM, you either loved those or hated them, but there's no denying that all of those tracks I just played sounded really similar. But then something really unique happened. All of a sudden, with the outbreak of COVID, the whole dance music world stopped. That's when I discovered YouTube, and specifically discovering these now classic videos from people like Alex Ball, Andrew Huang, Dr. Mix, basically created an entire paradigm shift in the way that I looked at sound design and synthesizers. Because while it might be obvious for you to use hardware synths in a way, coming from the EDM world where no one really thought like that, it was such a mind-blowing experience, and it immediately invigorated my creativity. So hopefully you're still following me, because that brings me to the first main tip for why synth demos sound the same and how you can buck that trend. It all comes down to putting yourself out of your comfort zone when it comes to what kind of synthesizer music you listen to. That early OB6 demo was me trying to unsuccessfully make a analog synthwave track, but since at that point all my production skills were in electronic dance music, it ended up sounding like this really cool hybrid of, dystopian Blade Runner future nightclub music mixed with good old-fashioned analog synth resonance patches. And I think I wouldn't have made that track if I hadn't have discovered the world of hardware synths and put me out of my comfort zone. I'll give another example. That motor synth jam you just heard is literally one of the things I'm the most proud of that I've made on this channel, and it wouldn't have happened if I had stayed inside my comfort zone and not exposed myself to music that I didn't really like. Okay, moving on to the second reason why so many synth demos and jams sound so uninspired, and that's for a reason I like to call main character synth sound syndrome. What is main character synth sound syndrome? Well, this is what happens when you're sitting in front of a super powered synth and you see all these features, all these wonderful things like 3 oscillators, 2 filters, 5 different effects, 27 different outputs, and you're like, I gotta use all of these. I have to, right? I can't just make a simple patch that sounds good, because then people will just say, hey, why would I spend all this money on the synth? But I think that's the wrong way to look at it, because all of the best patches that I've made on synths like the Super Gemini and the OBX8, they take advantage of some of the features, but they rarely take advantage of every single feature at full blast, full gas pedal at the same time. let me know in the comments if you liked that patch or not. It was super fun to make, but that's, I think, a good example of a sound where maybe I went a little overboard with all the features, and I don't know how usable that would be in a track. So what should you do to get past this? Well, one of my favorite things to do when I get a new synth to learn for the channel is to go over each section and really try to learn each section by limiting myself to, let's say, I'm just going to start with the same sawtooth oscillator. And I'm going to see how far I can get with using one saw wave oscillator into a filter, really understand the filter, find the sweet spots, and see how beautiful of a sound I can just do with one single oscillator going into filter. At the end of the day, it's about making music in as smooth and natural of a flow state way as possible, and that brings me to the sponsor of today's video, Analog Cases, with their brand new XTS performance stands. If you use hardware synths, pedals, desktop units, then you absolutely need a stand you can rely on, not only to prevent your precious gear from hitting the floor and getting damaged, but also for workflow and ergonomic reasons. The XTS performance stand system from Analog Cases is the best hardware synth stand that I've tried, and it has fully, as you can see here, replaced my old and aging 3-tiered stand that wasn't nearly as stable, that wasn't as reliable, and actually broke. Here I'm using the model with 2 flex tables, which I really like because it allows you to put a selection of desktop units like pedals, desktop synths on the shelves and have everything be really easily available with the included holes for cables and wires. The XTS performance stand system comes in a ton of different variations, and it's made with super high quality parts, but is still able to be taken down and assembled really quickly, so it works well for both live rehearsals and home studio setups. If you're interested in getting an XTS performance stand for yourself, then use the link in my description, and thank you so much to Analog Cases for sponsoring this video. Let's get back at it. The final reason why so many synth demos sound so uninspired is, in my opinion, because of the preset trap. What is the preset trap? Well, it's linked to what I talked about before, but it's a little more nuanced. The main character synth sound syndrome that I was talking about before is more to do with when you're sound designing and you're creating something that's just way overboard and not very musical. The preset trap is almost the exact opposite of that. And what I mean by that is no matter how unique a synth is, people still just expect there to be certain types of factory presets. People expect a massive Blade Runner analog brass patch on every single synth. And I mean, I love that too. That's like my favorite sound in the entire world, but you can only hear so many of those analog Blade Runner brass patches before you start to wonder, okay, what else can this synth do? But this preset trap is really dangerous to fall into because a lot of the time you get a new synth and what's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to play the presets. What's the first thing a demo channel is going to do? Not here, by the way, but they're going to play the presets. And I think while it's important to have those bread and butter staples, it's also more important to start from an it and see what the character of the synth is. Because in my opinion, if you're not starting from init, you're not really getting an idea of what the character is. And if you've got this brand new synth and you're trying to make it something that's really a part of your sound, you're gonna go a lot further by starting from init, and it might take longer, but really learning the nuances of each part of the synth and creating a patch that speaks to you, rather than just using the same 5 to 10 presets that every single synth has. The Blade Runner, the E-piano, the brass, the analog strings. They're great for a reason, but they're not gonna sound as unique. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments below if you have any other tips or tricks for how to escape that generic, boring synth jam, synth demo sound, or just let me know if I'm completely off base here and there's no issue at all and things are great how they are. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to Jim Daneker. He's got an awesome channel and his video a while ago was one that inspired me to make this, so go check that out if you haven't already. I'll leave it in the description. I'm gonna leave you with one final synth jam that I'm really proud of, and whether or not you like it, hopefully it goes to show what I'm talking about, that you can apply all these different rules and at the very least make something that sounds different. Hope you enjoy and thanks for watching.